Alex Eala begins another chapter in Philippine tennis history tonight as the Filipino star opens her 2026 Wimbledon campaign against a familiar opponent, Mexico's Renata Zarazua. Now, this is more than just a first-round match. It's a rematch nearly 2 years in the making. Back in 2024, Zarazua rallied from a set down to defeat Eala in the quarterfinals of the W100 Carry Tennis Classic, handing the young Filipina one of her toughest losses.
Imagine booking a Wimbledon ticket only to discover that your biggest challenge isn't finding your seat or competing with other tennis fans, but trying to navigate through an overwhelming wave of supporters who all came for the same reason. That is exactly what happened when Alex Eala transformed Wimbledon into what felt like an unofficial gathering of Filipinos from around the world. At just 21 years old, armed with nothing more than her talent, determination, and a tennis racket, she sparked a level of excitement few could have imagined, sending fans rushing to London, driving ticket demand through the roof, creating crowded airports, and leaving Wimbledon organizers wondering if even centre court was large enough to accommodate the incredible atmosphere surrounding her remarkable rise.
You're meeting so many players, like Belinda, getting to practice with her. You've got the little, cool new folks club with you and Eala and Alex Eala, and I saw Paula Bedosa taking a selfie with you the other day. Is the clique expanding? Are you adding people to the cool kids group?
Listen, everyone's welcome. This is not a clique. We're not drama. So no, everyone's who's sweet and wants to have a good time. Everyone's welcome, and I don't know. We're just. It's not too serious, honestly. Obviously, we're all competing on the court, but we want to have friends. We want to do stuff off the court. It's not like we know people in every city of the world that we...
The most extraordinary revolutions in sports rarely begin with fireworks, championship celebrations, or headline-making moments, because they often start with something so simple and ordinary that almost everyone fails to notice the significance until it has already changed everything.
Eala going to get things started here in round number 1 on Tuesday. So Eala, as you guys know, home country of the Philippines, always behind her, has a big backing, a big following, so much support, and great to see from her because I'll tell you what, she's definitely earned it with the body of work that we've seen out of her the last few years. Talk about a nice up-and-coming talent here within the sport. Does she have the big power game? No, but she moves well. She never says die at any point. She tracks down every ball, extends rallies left and right. I mean, she is just very talented within that return game to extend rallies. And I'll be honest, she actually surprised me.
It might begin with something as routine as a rankings update appearing on a phone screen, a new tournament draw being released, or a relatively unknown player stepping onto a court that seems far too small for the extraordinary attention they are about to attract.
Also, initial reaction is Alex Eala has got to be you got to be happy with that first round because for Alex Eala, think about some of these non-seeds that she could have played that I think would have been more difficult. I would say Kazakhina, as someone who has done well on grass in the past, would have been more difficult. Bianca Andreescu, a former Grand Slam winner and has already played 3 matches on grass in qualies this week coming through. I would say she would be more difficult.
As one observer put it, she keeps getting tougher with every tournament. Then, almost overnight, thousands of people began moving in the same direction, as if they had all received an invitation that had never actually been sent. That was the moment Alex Eala's incredible rise stopped being just another inspiring tennis story and became something far bigger. By the time Wimbledon arrived in the summer of 2026, the spotlight was no longer focused solely on a gifted young player climbing the rankings. It had evolved into a global phenomenon, with an entire nation rallying behind her and turning every match into an unforgettable event.
For Zarazua, if that came on the clay, then I think we can pretty much dismiss it. And also if it came a couple of years ago or more, likely. It came on hard court, but it was 2 years ago, and it was in 3 sets. So the 1-0 head-to-head from that winning carry that the Mexican had. Yeah. Maybe also Zarazua will get distracted by the World Cup ahead of this particular encounter, where Mexico, of course, are flying high.
Instead, it became the story of an entire global community determined not to miss a single moment of history as it unfolded before their eyes. Ironically, Wimbledon was never meant to be the place where this remarkable journey truly began. The story actually traced back several months earlier in Melbourne, where what appeared to be a routine scheduling decision unexpectedly revealed just how much the tennis world had underestimated the drawing power of a 21-year-old star from Quezon City. Tournament officials reviewed the rankings, finalized the opening round schedule, and placed Eala on Court 6, an intimate venue typically reserved for early round matches expected to attract moderate crowds. But reality had an entirely different plan. Long before the opening serve, lines of eager fans stretched across Melbourne Park at an astonishing pace. Many supporters arrived before sunrise, convinced they had come early enough to secure a spot, only to find hundreds of people already waiting ahead of them. Even more remarkable, some of the loudest cheers came from fans who never made it inside the court, creating the extraordinary sight of a tennis match whose energy spilled far beyond the stadium itself. For tournament organizers, it was a situation they had never expected to face. Although the Australian Open welcomed well over 100,000 spectators that day, an unusually large share of those fans seemed to have one destination in mind. Eala's growing popularity had quietly outpaced every expectation, proving that her influence had already become far greater than professional tennis had anticipated.
Straight off the press, we now know exactly which court Alex is going to play on Tuesday. So Tuesday the 30th of June, that's a couple of days' time, we will have camped overnight for tickets, and we will be in, and we will be courtside with our camera facing the play, and Dan will be there doing some commentary, whatever commentary he can possibly do in terms of not being thrown out for being.
Almost overnight, the conversation around the sport changed. Instead of analyzing Eala's backhand, footwork, or tactical growth, people began asking a far more surprising question: how had the tennis world so badly underestimated the size of the audience following her every move? One observation captured the confusion perfectly. Many voices within the tennis community openly wondered why a match featuring Eala had been scheduled on such a small court, and the comment quickly spread because it echoed exactly what thousands of spectators were already thinking. The debate was no longer about whether her ranking justified the attention she received. It had become clear that something much bigger was happening. To understand that phenomenon, you have to look far beyond the tennis court itself. Melbourne is home to a thriving Filipino community that has spent generations building new lives thousands of miles away from the country they still proudly call home. They carried their traditions across continents, raised families in a foreign land, and created new beginnings without ever letting go of their identity. So when Eala walked onto the court with the Philippine flag displayed beside her name, those communities saw far more than a promising young tennis player. They saw a powerful symbol of their heritage, their dreams, and their connection to home. That emotional bond wasn't created by a marketing campaign or carefully planned promotion. It happened naturally, making every one of her matches feel like a moment the entire community wanted to experience together.
How the grass courts are going to work out for Eala in her game, right? But I'll tell you, it was a clean lead up to Wimbledon. I thought she did enough on grass to prove that she could definitely play on it, make some noise here a little bit, and with having that great support system, the confidence behind her, her ability to extend rallies and whatnot, I mean, you have to like her a lot within this early round matchup. I can't find anywhere where I could say, like, I don't know about Eala here. I like Eala's game a lot. I think she's having a very steady 2026. Now that she had that big splash like we saw last year where she made that Miami Open semifinal and beat Iga and pushed Pagul within that semifinal. No, but she's been making...
There were no celebrity endorsements convincing people to buy tickets, no massive advertising campaign, and no carefully designed promotional strategy encouraging overseas Filipinos to fill the stands. Everything unfolded naturally because genuine inspiration has a way of spreading on its own. One family invited another to watch a match, friends shared highlights through group chats, and communities separated by thousands of miles suddenly found themselves celebrating the same moments together. One young athlete reminded them that their stories, their heritage, and their dreams still had a place on the world's biggest sporting stage. No matter where they lived or what careers they pursued, many shared the same quiet hope of seeing someone carrying the Philippine flag succeed against the very best. Eala unexpectedly became that symbol, and even those closest to her were amazed by how quickly people embraced her journey. With every victory, the support grew stronger until it felt less like a fan base and more like a worldwide family reunion. Nurses finishing demanding overnight shifts stayed awake to watch her matches, students packed into small apartments for viewing parties, families rearranged dinner plans so they could cheer together in front of the television, and workers quietly followed live streams during lunch breaks whenever tournament schedules made it possible. Her matches became more than sporting events. They became shared moments that connected millions of people across different countries and time zones.
But since then, both players have grown. Zarazua is now 28 years old, ranked world number 75 after climbing as high as number 51 last year. She owns 3 WTA 125 titles, has Grand Slam experience, and reached the second round of Wimbledon last year after a dominant opening round victory. She also battled through qualifying in Bad Homburg before falling to Wang Xinyu. Now, ironically, Eala and Zarazua also became doubles partners at the French.
After every victory, social media overflowed with celebrations. But the excitement never felt forced or manufactured because it came from genuine emotion rather than viral trends. Eala has always spoken about that connection with remarkable humility. Instead of portraying herself as a lone superstar carrying the hopes of an entire nation, she has consistently emphasized the shared pride Filipinos feel whenever one of their own succeeds on one of the world's biggest stages. That sense of unity only strengthened the bond between Alex and her supporters, making every victory feel like a collective achievement instead of an individual accomplishment. Tournament organizers understand television ratings, sponsorship deals, and ticket demand better than almost anyone, yet even they found themselves repeatedly underestimating Alex's growing popularity. Wherever she competed, the same remarkable pattern continued to appear. Practice courts filled with spectators long before official matches even began. Fans patiently waited for hours just to watch routine training sessions that normally attracted little attention, and volunteers and security staff suddenly found themselves managing crowds much larger than anyone had anticipated. Indian Wells provided another unforgettable example, as hundreds of supporters dressed in matching fan shirts gathered simply to watch Eala practice, proving that the excitement surrounding her had grown far beyond the matches themselves.
To be friends with the girls that I actually know and that are on the tour, and we want to do fun things outside the court. So I think that's what it's about.
I like that. Everyone can come to the lunch table.
Yeah, everyone's welcome. Not a clique.
I feel like even the one thing that makes you maybe different is that when it comes to actually playing, like you barely lost games to Alex this year in those 2 matches. What makes you thrive in those situations against your best friends?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I actually played quite well both of the times that I played against her. I hear we're doing something at the Open a little.
The same incredible scenes soon unfolded in Dubai, where tournament organizers openly praised the unwavering support shown by Filipino fans throughout the event. Rome witnessed a nearly identical atmosphere, with waving Philippine flags, packed spectator areas, and practice sessions that felt more like celebrations than routine training. At first, each tournament assumed the excitement was a one-time occurrence, but every stop on the tour produced the very same result. Before long, some tournament directors began placing Eala on larger courts from the start, recognizing that demand would quickly exceed the available seats. Others remained doubtful until they experienced the phenomenon firsthand. Her performances alone had already been remarkable, as defeating world-class opponents in consecutive matches demands not only extraordinary talent, but also the confidence to perform under relentless